My name is Mattias Svensson. That's just growing up. And that's Stefan Hattenbach. And we are all designers. And well, very glad to be here. We're working for the company Söderhavet. Söderhavet is a strategic design agency based in Stockholm. I will not tell you anything more about our company. The address is there if you want to look it up. There's also our Twitter account. Excuse our English, we're doing the best we can. I hope it's understandable. I was asked to do an introduction or give the context for the public or the new typeface that we did for Sweden. And my plan was to talk just a little bit about Sweden's brand platform and our core values. And also talk a little bit about our approach to brand architecture that we discovered in the work with Brand Sweden. I only have 10 minutes, so I just dive into it. In 2005, the Council for Promotion of Sweden launched a joint brand platform. The Council for Promotion of Sweden is basically these different organizations: Visit Sweden, Business Sweden, the Ministry for Foreign Affairs, and the Swedish Institute. They are also our client for this job. All in all, over actually 600 people were involved under a pretty long period of time to define the core values. I mean, Sweden's overall distinctive features and the values that stand out, and in a sense, what Sweden has to offer. And that made us, I mean, for an agency, that made us pretty confident to work with those core values because we know that they are true. Now I understand why you stand here, Jane, because you don't have the lights on you. It's perfect. And that is not a product from an advertising agency and some copywriter on a Tuesday. So in the heart of the platform is the all-embracing term progressive. This is not a word that we use to describe ourselves. Rather, it is what we want others to feel when they see things or interact with us in our country. Progressive is expressed in 4 core values. Innovative, or innovation, for us in communication means seeing things from a different angle. And also try to do things that never has been done before. Open is very important to Sweden and means that we want to celebrate a variety of people, cultures and lifestyles. Caring means safeguarding and protecting each individual, showing compassion for the weakest in the society. I think this is so difficult to communicate, but it's an important part of the Sweden culture and what we think that is. And also authentic, and which is expressed in honesty, reliability, and in informality. For these core values, we have one strategy, and that is to do and don't talk about them. You'll probably have show, don't tell, but we want to act in a way that really proves that those core values are true. I'm going to show you a short movie that I think is a campaign. It's a campaign, and I think it incorporates both innovation, openness, and authenticity in a pretty clever way. It's a little braggy. That's not the reason I'm showing it to you. Oh, now I'm being Swedish again. Okay, sorry.
In Sweden, something unusual is happening. Normally, a country that has a Twitter account has that account run by an official of the government. Not so in Sweden. The people there are actually in charge.
We became the first country in the world to let go of an official communication channel and hand it over to our citizens. Every week, someone in Sweden is at Sweden, sole ruler of the world's most democratic Twitter account. For 7 days, he or she shares their everyday life, private opinions, and general reflections. After that, someone else does the same, but differently. This is a simple way to give tips and advice on where to go on your holiday in Sweden. And a great way to interact with people around the world. You can come with us to a regular day at work. Or hang out with us on our free time, both in the busy city and out in the the wild. The response was overwhelming. We attracted over 65,000 followers from 120 countries and started thousands of conversations. Sweden trended on Twitter worldwide, sparking discussions on transparency in social media and how technology can be used for democracy. The project has been featured all over the world, and after 6 months, the PR value is already $40 million. Some think it's just a clever PR campaign. Others believe that it's a beacon of free speech in a time when we need it more than ever. For us, it's the only way to paint a fair picture of Sweden for the rest of the world. Swede by Swede. Tweet by tweet.
I want to give credit to the Swedish Institute and Business Sweden who dared to do this, but I think Sweden is one of the few countries that really could do this. I think this would be difficult doing, for example, in China, or I had a speech for some African countries, and the ambassador of Zimbabwe asked me how I think he should relate to this transparency, etc. So this is a way that we prove that we are an open country. We do this for the first time, we are innovative, and it's real Swede, it brings authenticity. For some of these ad Swedes, it got pretty windy. They had a sense of humor that wasn't really appropriate. And I think in that way, when Sweden's or the Swedish Institute stood up as sort of a wind shelter for them, that also sort of proved the concept and the caring part of our brand platform. That's the first thing, and of course this in a way affects the typeface and why we're here. The second thing I would like to touch is this, that you have to design for transformation. And with that I mean I worked as 18 years as a designer, and I have seen during these 18 years that the life cycle of a trend or a fashion has been shorter and shorter for each year. I think the life cycle for trends, both in design and in technology, is changing faster and faster. That means you can't design programs for identities or brands like you did before, when you decided on a great look and you added a massive amount of rules, how the logo should be applied, which color should be used, etc., in order to keep consistency maybe for 5 or 10 years. And that was how you measured your success. We think differently. We think we need to design for transformation. And how do we do that? Well, we divide our identities into 3 sections. The first section, section number 1, contains basically the logo type. And it is designed to last for a very long time. In our work with Brand Sweden, we have a 50-year perspective on the logo type, which is a very long time. And why do we do that? Well, we know that the longer the logo type stays the same, the stronger it will become in its role to create recognition for Sweden. That this is Sweden talking. This is Sweden behind this concept, this idea. The second section, we add the typeface and 1 or 2 primary colors. These are elements designed to be long-lasting, but since in section 2 they also start to add a sort of tone to the communication. We will talk a lot more about the typeface. And in section 3 we have totally anarchy. Here we only have inspiration, secondary colors, photography, iconography, illustrations, everything that we use to present Sweden as a contemporary country, where we follow these short trends. So in this section we are really just inspiring people and designers around the world to do their best job for their local market, use the colors they want. So this section is supposed to be constant transformation. So this is very on the surface touching our architecture for brand identities in 2015. I would also like to add in section 3 we added a little tech thing, which we call the angle maker. And we designed this concept. It's a small application that creates a line between Sweden and the country we are communicating in, which is sort of a little inspiration for the designer in that country. In that sense, you could say, just back one slide here, you can see the diagonal line between the blue tones. It's actually the direction between Stockholm and London. So with this said, we have a unique identity for each country we are communicating in, which we think is interesting. And we have seen this minimalistic approach that we use today, and we also have seen examples from Tanzania, where the most beautiful patterns comes out of this basic idea. I will just end with presenting you the new logo type for Sweden, which we launched like 1.5 years ago. And I want to take you back to that day when I and Jessica were at the castle in the biggest room with all the hotshots from the government. It was a pretty excited atmosphere. People were like, oh, this is going to be so interesting. I even got patted on the shoulder by one of those big government guys. So I'm really excited to see what you at Söderhavet come up with. And I started something started to grow in my stomach, because I knew that in just a few minutes I was about to present this slide, which is the Swedish flag, in the exact same proportions and colors as it's been looking since 1567. You could say that the atmosphere changed a little bit when we showed this. But of course, with our concept, with the different sections of the identity, we could explain this in a way that I think at the end, they didn't kill us, we're still here. So to that, we added the word mark Sverige in Swedish, which is, you see what I'm showing? But we added a little flavor, which is a local translation for Sweden to the country we're communicating in, to tell them a story about Sweden and to learn them a little bit of Swedish. So, that said, talking a little bit about the brand platform and the identity and architecture, I would like to hand over to my brilliant colleagues at Söderhavet to do a deep dive into Sweden songs. This is Jesper and Stefan.
Hi guys, I'm Jesper. Stefan. We're going to take you through the story of Sweden songs. The Sweden songs is a really important part of the brand identity for Sweden. We had several companies using the many different typefaces. So when we started this, we saw it looked like this. They used typefaces to both sans serif and serif typefaces. It was a really scattered impression when they were communicating in Sweden. So the main thing was to make one single typeface that could use in all Swedish communication, but also typeface that could be used together with these typefaces. Also, as we were, Matthias was into, the flag is not unique, the flag is used everywhere. We can't really control how the flag is used. The flag is, if you go in Drottninggatan in Stockholm, you see the Swedish flag everywhere, on every elk, on every Viking helmet, anywhere. So we needed something that could be really strong and support and make the logotype more unique. Here's some example of all these translations.
Yeah, so you can see it's been developing over the time, and we had a lot of translation to do, and many different alphabets and word marks. So it's been building up. And also the question came up, why not use a commercial typeface for this project? There is a thing about commercial typeface. It costs money, but the main thing is that you can't control everything in a large project with a commercial typeface, because the commercial typeface can't really point out every solutions without knowing the case of the project. So, and also you have a lot of various technical issues coming up all the time, like different devices and etc. So we settled for a custom typeface that will take care of all this.
We're going to show some few examples of the inspiration for this. It's not really easy to start this kind of project. we had a clear idea, and we were looking back on older signage. We are surrounded in Stockholm and Sweden with as you are here in London, old, really nice and really strong typographic signs. So here is some of the signs we were looking at.
Yeah. The first one is a classic sign on railway stations, official train stations. Yeah, we can move on. This one is from the Stockholm subway, the original typeface. Old Swedish police cars, car plates, all kinds of stuff. We looked through so many pictures of old signage, street signs, warning signs, etc., etc. Yeah, you get the picture. It's are just a few of the pictures we looked through and inspiration.
So you may be familiar with the expression Lagom. It's a Swedish expression. We use it a lot in Sweden. I think the Lagom has what we were looking for in the typeface. We wanted a typeface that could be used over a long time, but also had this, in that area of Lagom, a little bit more uniqueness. We wanted it not too boring and not too edgy. So it was in that part of the design area.
So what is boring and what is neutral? We try to explore that a little bit. And here are a few examples of you could say, moderate, neutral typefaces that doesn't stand out at all. It's just basically a typeface. The top is Helvetica, the middle is Futura, and the bottom one is Times New Roman. They're working, but they're very low key. On the other hand, you can actually make a quite neutral typeface and still get in some character within the typeface. And these are some examples of neutral typefaces still, but with a bit more character in it.
So it's really difficult to capture the Scandinavian style. We were aiming for a Swedish Scandinavian look. So what is it? I think it's a heritage. I think it's when we grow up, we're surrounded with well-crafted design. We also have really functional in buildings and stuff like that. But I think also it's a longing for the light, because we have really dark ones in Sweden. I think we like that light and white around.
Yeah, these are examples of typical Scandinavian design, I would say. It's strict lines, yeah, bright colors most of the time.
And so, when we have this neutral thought, we want this Lagom typeface, but what can you add in the typeface to get that Sweden feeling, or that edge that we were talking about? This is some technical aspects of it.
Yeah, so typefaces are dealing a lot with details, and as you zoom in, you can find some specific details that makes the typeface really stand out in a way. The top one, you see it. You added some white space in between, cutting the letters, which makes gives it a very special style. And also here are some other examples, making the top and the bottom differently on a letter, using straight angles and stuff like that. And even classic typefaces, which doesn't say too much when they're used in the normal sizes, like in a book typeface, for example. If you blow them up, you can actually start to see some really strong characteristic details in them as well.
So we're going to talk a little bit about the process. We were working with this project since we won a pitch for the brand identity. And when we started with the pitch, we already there had a clear idea of the typography, strong identity. So we had really started the process thinking of typeface. But it's also important that we can sell that to the client. We started with this project with lots of sketches, just to give the client a hint of the design to be. So we started really, really rough in Illustrator and just made character sets like this, just to have something to show them.
Yeah, when Jesper called me and said, hey, we would like to make a typeface for Sweden, we have some idea, we made some sketches, we tested some letters and stuff, and we want you to make it together with us. So this was the first Illustrator file that I was presented with, and Jesper said we wanted it to be something like this.
There's also some words here that we started to try write with. So it was categories like food, science, and more. But after this, Stefan was starting with the
Yes. So I was doing some like old school sketches with a pen, and I wanted to try out different variations of each letter because it's nice to get a broader perspective. So I was doing all kinds of sketches with different letters. The R is a special story, actually.
Yeah, we were working with this. We were writing with this text beside parallel working with other design projects for Sweden, and we were like quick in the design, see that the R was really the top was really too long. So we were like mating each other like 50, 60 times just to get it right.
Yeah. So
that was quite a big part of the project, just really quick fixes and nerves.
So yeah, this is a process going on all the time, and the different thing with this project was that Jesper actually needed to start to work with the typeface really early, so the process went, you could say, side by side. I was doing it on my side and you were testing it out.
So we started with some parallel design when we together with the type design project, and I think it was really important. So we had really good cases we could try out. So this was the first project we were working on. This is the design week in Milan. So this was a Swedish furniture designers going together for the design in Milan, design week in Milan. So it was really nice to try it out. So everything here was from posters to catalogs and stuff. We were trying it. And this was the first alpha. It wasn't even a beta. It was alpha. So we were curving hand by hand. And other projects we've done was study in Sweden. People information about studying in Sweden. Also some typographic solutions for studying.
Yeah, and as long as the progress went along, Jesper was doing a lot of design on his side, and I was trying to fulfill my task and make the first weight ready for production and final stages. So there was a lot of printouts. This is the usual procedure. You have to see if the blackness is overall good enough and so on. So, and you always change small details during the way. Then in the end, I just for fun, I compared with the early sketches I made and see if it was the best solution possible. And yeah.
Here's the final set in the font lab.
Yeah, so these are the glyphs included in the weight.
So we're going to show some detail from the typeface that we think is unique or that makes Sweden songs.
Yeah. So here are a few examples on the uppercase letters. Usually the M is pointed down. You never cut off the point like that. We like to do that because it made it a great character. The Q is not, sorry, yeah. The Q is not the most used letter, but still you can give it a nice flavor, and so we made the stroke going vertical.
Here you also see the O, where we show the inspiration from the sides. One of the designs we really like.
Yeah, usually you have a ring on top of the Swedish letter O, but we thought it was nice to have a dot instead. And as the process went on, the typeface was used very loose, spacing, so it's almost like a monotype typeface. So we had to add some serifs, even if it's a sans serif typeface, in order to make it look good. And yeah, we made some alternative letters. Some of them we didn't keep, but some of them are used in the typeface if you want. As an
One of them
flavor.
was the R. We liked the long one, the long top, but we couldn't use it, so we kept it. But
Yeah.
maybe someone can use it. So some letters, some numbers as well. And numbers were really important. We wanted a really strong design on the letters. We were going to use letters a lot. So the 0 was really important, that we made something unique with it.
We kept the zero slash instead. It's a funny flavor.
We're going to show some results from a whole set of characters. This is the regular weight.
And this is the one that is used most through all the different designs. And also the funny thing with Sweden Sans is that we actually use capital letters a lot.
Yeah. So this is the bold one. This one was made afterwards because we had a need of for a design project. We needed a really bold one. So this was a couple of months later. I'm going to also show some projects we've done. We've been working with this for, I think it was 2 years ago, we finished up the typeface. But we've been working since then with lots of Sweden-related projects. This was one of the first ones. This is Sweden.se. This is an information site with all Sweden facts. This site we started to, first time we tried the digital version of the typeface. So that's really important to try to work with all different devices. So this is desktop, and you see more desktop. Also how it worked in iPad and mobile phone. It was really important to try the readability and stuff like that when we started this. Also working with, this was one of the first projects we worked with the bold version. The bold version was really needed here because this is more a tourism site. This is the Visit Sweden, it's a tourism part of the brand Sweden. So here we needed a bolder and more in your face.
Actually, if you use a lot of negative text, it looks slightly lighter as a typeface in the essence of weights. So that's why it's good to have a bold typeface.
And here's some more examples. This is quite fun. This is for Danish people going to ski in Sweden. So it's really.
I think their highest peak is 150 meters. So they really need the mountains.
We do really important design. This one is for work in Sweden, other study Sweden, more from Milan Design Week. So we're going to show here is more a widespread of usage. We could use for like design events or work in Sweden, a strategy document for the government. So it's we have a good like spread of the usage. Okay, it's from the Hong Kong Living Design a couple of weeks ago. So here's some Swedish politicians. Next slide we're really proud of. This is when Obama was visiting Sweden, Stockholm. He was on Stockholm University.
Of course, he met up with Sweden Sans.
So this one is the favorite. So the future, we're going to the lightweight is coming up.
Yeah, we're in the lightweight is in production. It's not set to be used yet, but it will.
Also, this one is quite exciting. Doing the Arabic version.
And the thing with the Arabic typeface is that it's mostly used in a very old, traditional, historical way, like a calligraphic background with thick letters and so on. And it's from the old fairy tales. So they have a strong tradition in doing typefaces like that in the Arabic countries. But we wanted to have it much more modern. So we followed the design of the Latin letters and made it very straight and modern.
But it's a long process. I think we're not really there yet. And I think we were working with this version for around 6-7 months now.
Yeah, something like that.
But we also had a thought from the beginning of this project that we were going to make it
They asked for it.
It was around, I think the first quote was around 50,000 sterling pounds because they have so many characters in there.
Like 5,000 or 6,000 letters.
It would be fun. So we have been working with it for 2 years. We got lots of media, the brand identity in Sweden, we got lots of media as well. Just showing some examples of what people and media have thought. We're going to leave you behind later on with some things you can read a lot more about this. But the first one was from the largest evening paper in Sweden, Sweden Sunset Picture of the Sweden Soul, and the branding blog, the largest branding blog in the world. Let's say exactly what we were aiming for, so that's good. Let's say that's a contemporary Scandinavian design look that feels right on Sweden, and it's strange enough to other countries to step up. That's quite what we wanted. The people, I think the people was quite negative in Sweden. So the first here is from Guardian, student already, Swedes don't choose you anyway. What do you mean? But the other one is quite fun as well. Where it's really about will the government pay taxes in other countries when it makes a profit from it outside Sweden. That's not a problem because this font, Typeface, is not used companies widespread. It's just used for the government talking about the Sweden picture and the companies that the government or the government offices say, okay, it's fine to work in this project, but not everyone. The need to shift it. So, short summary. The first is the organization is working with the Sweden brand. We really like this. To have one identity, one typeface, every communication is much easier to do. Also, the process me and Stefan we're working with in Söderhavet, really good to try it out in so long time. So we had 6 months just working and trying. It was really important. And this decision to make it neutral and not too boring to achieve typeface was really good, but it worked very nice in all the applications. You know, that's a technical aspect.
The commercial typeface could never have done this, so we made the right choice.
We're going to end this with open for questions. So we have a gift for you guys who wanted to
Maybe we could also ask that Swedish newspaper Aftonbladet posted a competition between kids in Sweden if they could draw their own logotype. But they did sending flags, etc. This one, for the first one, this is a numbered print of Sweden songs. Number 5 goes to the one with the first question. Yeah, guy in the red basket.
Is it a typeface we can use on our own websites?
Sorry, what? Sorry.
Can we use it on our own websites?
No, you can't.
No.
So if you are asking the government offices and they say it's okay with your project, then you can do it.
So will the Swedish legislature and other printed government documents use this?
No, I think it's more for communication.
Yes.
And when they're talking about the Sweden picture law, events, fairs, when you're talking about, I think the most common is when you go to Hong Kong, talking about Swedish design or Swedish freedom of speech.
Those last 3 steps you had on the previous slide, surely they would apply to any large, boring organisation, so why something different? What did you do differently you wouldn't do for a large band or UK? Can you go back to the previous slide?
Yeah,
If you need them, you could apply it to any big organisation. No, it's the penultimate slide.
Good deal.
It was like, try it out, see if it works, go with it. Next one.
You?
It was the second to last slide.
The other side.
Gentlemen, people.
Next one, next one. There you go. How is that different to anything else, any other large organisation or body?
Oh, you mean the typeface itself?
No, the process.
I think we got really good period of time to do this. I think when we work with other companies, we can say, okay, we want to do typeface. You get 1 month. So we can't really try it, and they get the first alpha, and it's not really good. So we had a really good period of time to try it, and always check with the client and try it to company and to smaller projects. So it was, I think the end result is much better.
Well, when I've done a custom typeface to other companies, I've never done a very early version and handed over to them. It just, I mean, within the agency, or they can judge it, but they never delivered anything half through. So this was a very different project.
Do we have any more questions?
Do you have any more questions?
Do we have any more time?
Are there other countries who don't do the same thing?
I think we've been nation branding have been talking about really much the last couple of years. I think Finland is doing it now, and Estonia maybe, but it's not really common. I don't think it's. I think the typeface maybe you can call Helvetica's Switzerland's typeface, but it isn't. But they use it a lot in their application. Yeah.
Clearly, some people who decided this was important to commission you guys.
Yeah.
To Lagom. Yeah. Can you tell us anything about them? What background do they come from?
The organization.
Well, the people that decided this was important enough to make it happen with you.
Yeah, I think it was in the process Matthias was talking about. The 600 people talking about communication needs and what's important of the brand Sweden.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
So Jack said there's some audio stuff we've got to work on, and it's all gone a bit. It's all gone a bit off the range already. So it's definitely Monki Gras. These lights, guys, need to not shine in the speaker's eyes, because it's like a whole thing that people don't want, which is bright lights shining in their eyes. I think that while we have a fiddle about and try and get back on track a bit, and there's frankly enough there for you to be digesting and talking about, we should maybe like have a little fika, a coffee break. One thing I haven't spoken about, health and sort of warnings and health and safety, and make sure bad stuff doesn't happen. In previous years, I've said in case of fire, run that way or that way. It's a bit different this time. In case of fire, don't run, but go that way or that way.